Back. It's a great day for you. It's Wednesday. It's the 15th of July. Lou, Jackie, and Jason here, being joined by Rekha Basu from the Des Moines Register. We find out what's on her mind. We get Rekha's voice on Wednesdays. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you.
You're awful bright
too.
Here today, aren't you?
Well, I'm rocking the peacock blue, you know?
That looks good.
One of my favorite new colors. Thank you. So what's on my mind today is income inequality, something that's often on my mind, but we don't often talk about as a society. And we had a visitor last week, actually an author by the name of Robert Putnam, who's written a new book called Our Kids. And it's about the growing income inequality between poor kids and rich kids in this country. And he came and spoke at the Harkin Institute for Public Policy at Drake University. And then he came in and met with our editorial board. And you know, some of what he says is stuff that we already know generally, but the points that he made were so kind of, they were very moving actually, because he talked about the kind of soft skills that most people are expected to develop in terms of interviewing skills, or when you apply for a job, that just the simple protocols that you should know, that you should have been taught by your parents. And a lot of kids who have been raised poor after generations of poverty don't know those kinds of skills.
Sure.
And also,
what type of skills are you talking?
So
you talking about making sure you wear shoes when you go to an interview? Or?
Right, exactly.
It sounds exaggerated.
It sounds silly.
It sounds silly, but that's a true case.
Well, you know, I started out this column writing about an article I read a few years ago about some of the worst mistakes that people make in job interviews. And they're the ones that we all know about, like dressing in shorts as opposed to wearing a business suit, or bad-mouthing your previous employer, which is a no-no. You're just not supposed to do that, because then prospective employers will say you're disloyal and would you go around bad-mouthing them, that sort of thing.
Right.
But then there are things like this one guy, and I laughed when I first read about this, but now I'm not laughing so much when I think about it. A job candidate who went to an office for an interview and had ordered a pizza for his lunch, which was delivered during the interview at the office.
Oh wait, did he share it? Because then...
No, see, that makes all the difference in the world.
Been, hey, I got a pizza here
I brought us
for
a pizza, man. Yeah, right. No, that would have been lovely, actually. But I don't believe he did. I think he just sat there and consumed it while he was being interviewed.
Okay.
Now, I mean, typically one would have parents who would say, don't order a pizza for lunch while you're being interviewed. But maybe in some, I mean, this is obviously an exaggerated example, but there are other kinds of protocols. Don't eat with your mouth full. You know, certain things that are supposed to be transmitted by parent to child that aren't necessarily. And he goes on to make the broader point that there are buffers that rich kids have in society if they get into trouble. He said, all kids do stupid things. You break the law, you know, you get in trouble with the law, or you diss somebody that you shouldn't, or you don't finish a job properly. But in a rich family, you have these airbags that automatically inflate to insulate you from the fallout. So, for example, a parent who knows somebody can pick up the phone and call the DA or call a rich attorney and get them on the case, and the kid can be spared the problems that will potentially follow another poor kid around for life because of those kinds of things. And I was just talking to Ted outside about the problems with the internet nowadays. This is not something that he got into, but things that people put on the internet stupidly, not thinking, can come around and plague them for life also if they're not thinking through.
Can you imagine growing up with Facebook and all the stupid things?
But I mean, they're now incorporating this into workshops and classes for kids, saying you need to watch what you put on social media because that can affect you going into the workforce or things like that. Like that class never even was a thought.
That's right.
When we were going to school.
If I graduated college now, I would delete my growing up account.
I think you have to.
You know.
I think.
Could you imagine all the dumb things you did in college that were documented that
like
would have been online?
It doesn't matter if you're poor, rich, whatever. We all do
stupid things.
We're human beings and things happen. But now everything is documented, unlike it was when we were
And it lives forever. You can delete it, but still, someone who's savvy enough in the IT business could find it. So those are, and another thing that Putnam said is that rich kids tend to have mentors, and that is a very critical component of success, whereas poor kids generally don't. And he has some very interesting thoughts about how to integrate rich kids and poor kids better. He says one of the most critical components of going to school is not where you go to school, but who you go to school with. So that you should have interaction. If you're a poor kid, you should have interaction with rich kids, because there are certain protocols or intelligence or whatever, I mean, not native intelligence, because everybody has that, but certain social intelligence that might rub off. So he's either recommending a kind of a busing like as was used during desegregation period, except that it wouldn't be around race so much, it would be around income. Or he advocates simply having poor kids move into suburban neighborhoods where they end up going to school with richer kids. And he says that the studies show that that has an impact on how well poor kids succeed in the workplace, but no negative impact on how rich kids do. You know, but the question is, how many rich kids do you think are voluntarily, or rich families are going to voluntarily pick up and move into lower income areas to send their kids to school? That's why these things have to be, ordered by law, or in some way, you know, sort of tax policies have to be changed so that there are incentive, exactly. So very interesting food for thought, though.
All right, and that's all in today's column?
That is in today's column.
All right, and that's what page of the hymnal?
And that is on page 15A of the Des Moines Register.
There you go, perfect. All right, when we come back, folks, you know, a little bit later on today, we're going to be talking about RAGBRAI, one of the Register's big events, the biggest event that they have. And you're going on RAGBRAI, you're riding the whole thing, I understand.
I'm sorry to say, it's been about 20 years since I've been on a bicycle, but I'm hoping to change that any day now.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
but Jason is going to ride.
Be a good morning, yeah. I'm going to go a couple days.
All right, we'll be right back.
Good for you.
Watching Grit Day.